In the resume, you'll have to mention about your education, you'll have to mention about your experience, you'll have to mention about your hobbies, you'll have to mention about your contact details, your skills, and a lot of other stuff. So how to manage that? Because in previous video I had mentioned that your resume has to be of a single page. The resume has to be of only one page. You'll have to put a lot of information under different sections. So how to manage that? Then the question comes, what to put on the resume and what not to put on the resume. What is compulsory to put on the resume and what is optional information to put on your resume. That we will see in this video. Hey everyone, welcome back once again. In this video we are going to see what to put on the resume and what not to put on the resume. This is a very common question. People have a lot of confusion about what to write and what not to write in the resume. When I'm saying what to write and what not to write, it doesn't mean that I'm trying to say you to hide that information. When I'm saying what not to put on your resume, it doesn't mean that आपको वो information छुपानी है, but आपको वो information तब बतानी है जब आपको उसके बारे में पूछा जाए. So in this video we will specifically talk about what to mention, what not to mention, what to put on the resume and what not to put on the resume. So let's get started with the video. But before that, if you're new to the channel, please hit on the subscription button and don't forget to hit on the bell icon. Also, if you have any queries relating to what to put on the resume and what not to put on the resume, or if you're in a dilemma between what exactly to write in the resume, you can always comment your queries here in the chat box. Well, before this I had made one video. It was on how to write the resume and which all are the key sections of the resume. That video was one of the popular video on my channel. If you have not checked that video, please do check. I have given the link here in the description box. Well, let's get started with what to put on the resume and what not to put on the resume. We will see first what to put on the resume. The first section of any resume is the heading section, wherein you will have to mention about your name and your contact details. So when I'm saying contact details, it doesn't mean that all the information like where you're staying, where you are, what is your current address, what is your permanent address. It's not actually needed to mention in the resume. We will divide this video into two parts. The first part of the video will be what to put on the resume, and the second part of the video will be what not to put on the resume. So don't forget to watch the video till the end so that you'll not miss any point in this video. So let's get started with what to put on the resume. Point number one is the contact information. In my previous video, I had mentioned about the first section of the resume, that is the heading section. So in the heading section, you will have to mention about your name and the contact details. So never ever forget to provide your contact details in your resume. Most importantly, here you'll have to be very professional while giving your contact details, specifically mail ID and contact number. So the mail ID has to be professional. Don't give unprofessional mail ID like chintu@gmail.com or pari@.com. So try to avoid using such mail IDs. If you're not having any professional mail ID, so try to create it and use the professional mail ID. I had also mentioned this point in my previous video. At the same time, you'll also have to give the working mobile number. When you're expecting the call from the employer, always make sure that you're reachable to them. When I'm saying giving the contact information, it doesn't mean that you should give your postal address. People have habit of giving their current address, people have habit of giving their permanent address. So it's not actually needed. Anyways, no one is going to send you a letter. Point number two, you should put on your resume is a work summary. If you're a fresher, then you can probably write about what internship you have done. You can write about what collaborative work you have done with your teachers and professors. How many activities you have completed, like some kind of certifications, maybe some kind of event if you have successfully conducted or organized in the college campus, or maybe intercollegiate activities which you have participated, or if you have received any awards, you can mention here under the work history. Specifically for the working professionals, if you have experience of maybe of multiple companies Like if you have worked for maybe 3 years or maybe 4 years with some specific company and after that you have switched, so you can always mention those under the work history, but make sure that you are mentioning them under the reverse chronological order. Next is the education. If you're fresher, so you should always mention about your education, from where you have done your graduation, from where you have done your masters, or if you have done PhD, that can also be mentioned. If you have cracked some exams, maybe conducted at state level, national level, like JEE, JEE, or maybe NEET or something like that, that also you can mention under the education section. But if you are a working professional and have industry experience of multiple years, then not necessary to mention how much marks and grades you had in 10th, 12th, maybe in first year, second year. You can write them how many percentage you had in graduation, post-graduation onwards. Even if you give 3 to 4 details of your education, that is enough. Next important section is the skills section. I'm going to make a separate video on which all other skills you can write under the skills section. But here, just to know you and to get you an idea what to be written under this section, here you can mention about your IT skills, here you can mention about your computer skills, here you can mention about the soft skills, here you can also mention about your time management skills, and a lot of other skills you can mention. Also make sure that whatever the skills the employer has asked or whatever the skills employer was looking for, those skills are always been mentioned in the vacancy or whenever there's an announcement for the recruitment. So make sure that you are highlighting those skill sets in your resume, or make sure that you have gone very carefully what skill sets in a candidate employer is looking for, and you're sprinkling those skill sets in your resume. This is one of the main section of the resume. Next is the certification and memberships, if you have any. If you have done certain certification programs or certification modules, so you can mention them under the certification section. Make sure that you are not repeating them. If you have mentioned certain certification programs or diploma programs which you have done under the education section, so don't repeat them. But if you have not mentioned them under the education section, then definitely you can mention them here in the certificate section. Next is the awards and achievements. If you have any award, like some people get awards at the college level, like student of the year award. But if you are a working professional, so probably the best achievers award for the quarters, best achievers award for the 6 months, or maybe best performer of the year award. If you have such awards, you can mention under the awards category. Also, if you are a part of some NGOs or maybe some organization which works for community, and if you have received any kind of such awards for the social work, you can also mention them under the awards and recognition category. Additional section is always an open-ended section where you can give an additional information about yourself, like if you are doing some voluntary work, if you are a part of some activity which helps in creating awareness about certain stuff, that also can be mentioned under the additional section. So this was the first section of the video. Now we are going to move to the next half of the section of this video, which is very, very important. You should know what not to mention in the resume. You should know what not to put in the resume. The first thing which you should not put in your resume is too much information. People have a habit of writing too much about themselves in a paragraph format. So try to make a bullet point of whatever you want to say and try to mention them in your resume, because you will have to restrict your resume to a single page. And you will also have certain things when you will appear for the interview to speak, right? So try to keep the points which you are putting in the resume to a bullet point and restrict yourself from writing the information in a paragraph format. Write it in the bullet format. Next is the spelling and grammar. Just think for a while, if you want to write career and it becomes carrier, or in the spelling of message, instead of E, if you make it A, it will be a big blunder. So try to avoid committing the spelling mistakes in your resume and incorrect grammar. There's a solution for it. You can ask some of your friends or maybe family members or relative, maybe a senior, to go through your resume once and ask them to highlight if you have committed some mistakes into it. Also check the grammar of the points which you have written in your resume. Next point which you shouldn't put on your resume is incorrect information. Incorrect information about your past employers, incorrect information about your education, incorrect information about your grades. Many times it happens even if you're writing, you are less bothered about checking the details what you have write. Always make sure that whatever the details, whatever the credentials you are giving in your resume, that should be correct to your knowledge, because at the end you'll also have to give the declaration. Many times it happens people put the skills which they are not having, or some certification programs, or some credentials which doesn't belong to them. What will happen if you're not having those skill sets? You will be out of the selection process. But if you're providing incorrect information, you will be out of the recruitment of that particular company for forever and forever. So you should not put incorrect information about your education and experience. Next, which is very important, is unnecessary personal information. You should not put unnecessary personal information. People have a habit of giving unnecessary information like the gender, the marital status, family details, family backgrounds, details of their siblings. It's actually not needed, because you need to remember that this is a professional document which actually demands for your education, skills and experience, not other details. So don't put unnecessary information in your resume. Next is the negative comment about your previous employer. People have a habit of writing negative comments about your previous employer because you had a better experience in the previous company or in a previous organization. That's why you're leaving, right? So you shouldn't put that in a resume. Also make sure that when you're appearing for the interview, you shouldn't mention negative comment, or you shouldn't comment in a negative way about your previous employer. It creates a negative image about yourself in front of the interviewer. And the last one is details about your hobbies and interest. People have a habit of writing about their strengths, their weakness, hobby, interest. The recruiter is not interested in your hobbies, how you're spending your free time. If it is asked in the interview, that's fine. It's actually not required to mention in the resume which are your hobbies and what interest you have. It's not actually needed to be mentioned in the resume. So don't put that in your resume. Like if someone who is very keen to travel, and if you're mentioning that hobby here in the resume, that can be taken in the negative sense. Like if you are very much keen or passionate to travel, so you may probably frequently ask for the leaves to the office, and office won't offer it, right? Or if you are interested in maybe cooking or maybe getting connected to the people on a social media, so you don't know who is taking what information in what sense, right? So try to avoid that if it is asked in the interview. So those questions should be handled smartly if your hobbies and interest is asked to you in the interview process. But if it is a resume, then it's actually not needed to mention your hobbies and interest here in the resume. I'm sure you must have found this video informative. If so, then please don't forget to give a thumbs up and subscribe the channel. The next video is going to be on what is the most important part of the resume. So stay tuned for the next video. Until then, this is Sandeep signing off. Thank you for your time.